Welcome to the electrifying, tragic, yet wondrous universe of Guilty Gear, where monstrous gear bloodlines clash with human destinies, forging tales of survival, sacrifice, and the search for belonging. Amidst this chaotic yet harmonious symphony, we find Dizzy, a character as powerful as she is gentle, caught between the worlds between gears and humanity. As the true child of Mother of all Gears, Justice, Dizzy was born with immense power, yet filled with innocence, seeking only to find a peace in a world that fears her existence. I'm Arcadenaut here, and just like we have journeyed through the stories of Zato 1, Asuka Arcroids, Johnny, Effelt, Abba, Axellow, and Slayer, today, with the start of the 4th season of Guilty Gear Xrd, we will delve into the tender and resilient story of Dizzy. From her beginnings in the secluded forest of demons to her ultimate place within the family she's always longed for. We will uncover the full story of Dizzy, this time Queen Dizzy, with her luminous wings guiding the path. Defying her legacy, choosing love over violence, as the Queen of Compassion in full bloom.
In the sunset, the sky was a place with golden fruits. Before the darkness, how you took my hand, carried by the wind. All that changed, rolling the clouds of tears, fading radiant dawn. I desire nothing from the flowing sands of time. A bolt of lightning shows me where to run.
The initial information about Dizzy's birth is shrouded in mystery, as she is known only as the child of Justice, Mother of all Gears. Dizzy was born sometime in 2177 while her mother was sealed within a dimensional prison, as her early life was marked by solitude and confusion. As a child, Dizzy appeared as any other. Found and taken in by a kind elderly couple, Dizzy enjoyed a short period of warmth and care. However, her rapid growth and the appearance of her gear traits, most notably her wings and tail, led the villagers to regard her as a monster. Fear began to spread, and the rumors of her being a demon or a monster spread. Quickly after that, driven by fear, the villagers ultimately forced her adoptive parents to abandon her. To protect her from harm, the elderly couple hid Dizzy in the Forest of Demons, a secluded place where she would live in exile, visited only by her adoptive parents. Over time, even Dizzy's adoptive parents hesitated to visit her. Eventually, they stopped without saying a word to Dizzy, leaving her to survive on her own. In this harsh solitude, although Dizzy's innocence and kindness were tested, according to the Guilty Gear X drama The Grave, the Girl and the Flowers, she met Josephine, a blind girl who wandered into the forest and mistook Dizzy for an angel. There, their friendship blossomed, with Dizzy cherishing the companionship and the warmth that Josephine brought to her lonely existence. However, her happiness was fragile, dependent on the secrecy of her visits and Josephine's lack of awareness of Dizzy's true nature. When Josephine's life became threatened by Venom, a member of Assassin's Guild, the innocence of Dizzy's life in the forest took a dark turn. Josephine led someone else to Dizzy's hideout as they fled from Venom. This individual, who would later reveal themselves as Testament, was also a gear who shared Dizzy's struggles and identity. As both Testament and Dizzy brought Josephine to Faust's clinic for treatment, Dizzy started to take place in Guilty Gear's twisted world as well. As Faust cured Josephine's blindness, she was also frustrated with what she saw. Dizzy, the person that Josephine called as an angel, was nowhere close to being that, due to the color of her wings and her tail. As Dizzy was heartbroken with Josephine's harsh words, the villagers were aware of Dizzy's presence, as they set Faust's clinic ablaze in an attempt to destroy her. Despite Dizzy's pleas for peace, her sentient wings Necro and Undine retaliated in her defense, injuring villagers in the process. Heartbroken, Dizzy left, this time accompanied by Testament, her first loyal friend, into the heart of the forest of demons. In Guilty Gear X, Dizzy's story centers on her life as a command gear, as well as her struggle to find peace and a place where she can belong. The world sees her as a potential threat due to her lineage and the terrifying power she inherited from her mother, Justice. With Testament as her protector, Dizzy seeks a life of tranquility, shielded from those who would exploit or destroy her. Dizzy's appearance in the game brings her into direct conflict with bounty hunters and warriors from around the world, as the post-war administration bureau views Dizzy as a threat that needs to be neutralized. For this matter, Kai Kisk, now questioning the ideals of justice he once upheld after the Holy Order tournament, is dispatched to investigate the incidents surrounding Dizzy. When he finally finds her in the forest, Dizzy asks him if protecting someone means being ready to harm others. Kai's response reflects his complex feelings on humanity's violent nature and the burden of power, leaving Dizzy contemplating the strength and the clarity of his heart. Kai's decision to engage Dizzy in combat is rooted in a desire to show her that people are strong enough to handle her power without fear or hatred. However, despite his best efforts, Dizzy's sheer strength overpowers him. Before she can leave, however, a mob arrives, forcing Kai to allow her to flee. This battle, along with her growing awareness of her impact on the world, leads to a $500,000 bounty being placed on her head, drawing bounty hunters from every corner. During this time, Soul Bad Guy crosses her path as he pursues his own personal mission to eliminate guilds. Although Soul initially approaches Dizzy as an enemy, her gentle demeanor and lack of aggression surprise him, revealing the dissonance between her power and her position. Soul Bad Guy's mercy gives Dizzy a chance to live as Johnny finds her and offers her a place among the jellyfish pirates, recognizing her innocence and the harshness she's endured. Testament, now alone, chooses to remain in the forest, entrusting Dizzy to the jellyfish crew, who quickly became her family as her life aboard the main ship provides her with the warmth she's longed for. In Guilty Gear XX, Dizzy's story takes a hopeful turn as she is introduced to the jellyfish pirates. Led by Johnny, the jellyfish pirates became an essential part of Dizzy's life, offering her a community and a sense of belonging she's never known. This cute crew of outcasts and misfits accepts Dizzy unconditionally, embracing her for who she is rather than the power she possesses. Johnny, who serves as both leader and father figure to the jellyfish pirates, quickly becomes a guardian to Dizzy. The other crew members, particularly May, become friends who see beyond Dizzy's gear origin. And for the first time in her life, Dizzy finds herself in a setting where she can live without fear of rejection or hostility. However, this tranquility is suddenly abrupted by Ino's attack. In a sudden ambush, Ino knocks Dizzy off the ship's deck, sending her plummeting to the ground, where the impact renders Dizzy unconscious. As she lies defenseless, Necro, one of Dizzy's sentient wings with an aggressive, protective nature, takes control of Dizzy's body, unleashing a rampage of destruction until she is confronted by Dr. Faust. As he manages to stop Necro's rampage and cues Dizzy, restoring her consciousness and calming Necro's influence. This accident shakes Dizzy, forcing her to confront the darker side of her powers and the danger they possess. As Guilty Gear X's story changes depending on the player's performance, in one scenario, Eddie, the being formerly known as Zato-1, attempts to claim Dizzy's body to fulfill his own dark purposes. And not only that, but Deathman also appears before Dizzy to save her from Eno, punishing Eno for meddling in Dizzy's life. As Dizzy is permitted to return her crew, these encounters leave her haunted by questions of her vulnerability and purpose. However, if Dizzy faces Eno directly and defeats her, her efforts cause her to lose consciousness. Once again, Necro and Undine seize control, only to be challenged by Soul Bad Guy to calm their rampage and restore Dizzy's sanity. And when Dizzy awakens, she recalls a nostalgic dream, vague and distinct, yet profoundly emotional, which brings Dizzy to tears. April, one of Jellyfish Pirates, suggests that the dream might be a subconscious memory of Dizzy's parents, stirring a longing within Dizzy for the family she never knew. In Guilty Gear XX Accent Core, Johnny wishes to take Dizzy to reunite with Testament, her loyal protector and the gear who once swore to keep her safe. Dizzy, plagued by the questions of identity, of course seeks answers, hoping that Testament might help her understand her true origins. As they enter the Forest of Demons, Necro goes rampage once again, forcing May to fight against Dizzy. And depending on players defeating May in 20 seconds or not, her story changes. If Dizzy supposedly manages to subdue Necro and defeats May longer than 20 seconds, Kai Kiske arrives together with Testament and helps Dizzy to regain the control over her guardians. However, their meeting is complicated by the intervention of Crow, the branch chief of the Post-War Administration Bureau, who has created a replica of Justice, Dizzy's mother, and the commander of the Gears. As Dizzy defeats the Justice copy and forces Crow to retreat, she rejoins with Kai. During their encounter, Kai's kindness leaves a profound impression on her as he becomes a symbol of hope and compassion in her struggle to balance her gear nature with her desire for peace. Inspired by Kai's willingness to help, Dizzy asks him to teach her more about the world and how she might fit into it. Although Testament remains wary of humanity, particularly Kai, Testament reluctantly allows Dizzy to go, recognizing her determination to understand herself and hoping that one day humanity and Gears might find peace. However, if Dizzy manages to defeat May under 20 seconds, Necro's rampage continues as she first fights against Baiken and then Soul Bad Guy. As Soul intervenes instead of Kai, calming both Necro and Undine, allowing Dizzy to regain control. However, this time with no one to guide her path, she is soon captured by Crow with the assistance of Eba. Crow, ever obsessed with exploiting gear abilities, uses Dizzy's unique lineage to create clones, testing her limits and pushing her deeper into the conflict between her gear identity and her yearning for peace. The canonical story is Dizzy's life with Kai Kiske. After parting ways with the Jellyfish Pirates, Dizzy moves in with Kai Kiske. She adapts to a quieter life, devoting herself to caring for their home and providing Kai with a sense of peace he also has rarely known. Despite the challenges posed by her gear heritage, Dizzy finds happiness in these domestic routines, and her relationship with Kai deepens as they live side by side. In the sanctuary, they also fall in love, despite keeping Dizzy's identity concealed from the public. Since the official records of her existence are non-existent, and to protect Dizzy and their future family, Kai Kiske remains unable to formalize their marriage. Yet, Kai's love and commitment to Dizzy are unwavering. as he proposes her in private. Shortly after, Dizzy becomes pregnant, though due to her unique gear origins, Dizzy's pregnancy progresses rapidly and she soon gives birth in a way befitting her extraordinary nature. On May 31 in year 2182, their son Sin-Kisk is born. His arrival brings an additional layer of complexity to their lives, as Sin is, like Dizzy, marked by accelerated growth and enhanced abilities. Despite the joy Sin brings, Kai and Dizzy's family faces unique challenges. Kai, dedicated to his role in the international police force, often finds himself away from home, working tirelessly to maintain peace and protect his loved ones. Sin, still young and unable to understand the weight of Kai's responsibilities, resents his father's absence, perceiving it as neglect. When Sin is 6 months old, Kai's internal struggle over his family's safety reaches a critical point. Despite his efforts, Kai feels powerless to provide Dizzy and Sin with the secure, open life they deserve. This struggle intensifies when the Conclave, a mysterious and powerful organization, pressures Kai to enter the politics, using threats to Dizzy's life as leverage. As their life becomes even more complicated with politics and Sin's birth, Dizzy decides to leave his son in Sol Badguy's care. As both Dizzy and Kai know that Sol's strength and independence will protect Sin from the politics that threaten their lives. As Kai Kisk rises in prominence, he is ultimately elected as the first king of Illyria. The year 2185 brings a new and mysterious phenomenon, the disappearance of gears. Throughout the year, gears across the world begin to vanish, seemingly erased from existence. And in 2186, Dizzy falls victim to this process. Her form begins to fade, her essence threatened by the same force affecting all gears. In a desperate attempt to save her, Kai uses the Thunder Seal, a powerful relic and weapon, to place Dizzy in a frozen status, hoping to halt this process. This act born from fear and love, as Kai cannot bear to lose her. As the kingdom of Illyria is attacked by the forces of Valentine, Kai reveals Dizzy's condition to Sol, Dr. Paradigm, and to Izuna, enlisting their aid to determine whether she can be freed from her stasis. Dr. Paradigm examines Dizzy's situation and concludes that she can be unsealed, but only if they can defeat Valentine and her forces. As they work together, Paradigm discovers that Dizzy's cells, being the direct descendant of Justice, serve as the key to enter that man's cube, a dimension of immense power and secrecy. As Paradigm suggests destroying Dizzy, fearing that her unique heritage could be exploited for nefarious purposes, Kai, however, passionately refuses. At that moment, Kai declares his love for Dizzy, asserting that he would sooner risk the kingdom than sacrifice her. After years spent in stasis, Dizzy is finally released from the Thunder Seal's hold in 2187. Her sublimation stabilized, allowing her to rejoin her loved ones just as a new threat emerges. As she is reunited with her husband Kai, and shortly after with her son Sin, who has returned from Zep. This reunion is a heartwarming and emotional moment for Dizzy, who has missed witnessing Sin's growth over the past 2 years. She is overjoyed when, for the first time, Sin calls Kai dad, marking milestone in their family dynamic that reflects their growth and newfound unity. However, their reunion is cut short by the urgent need to prevent the Conclave from resurrecting Justice. Knowing the devastating consequences of Justice's return, Dizzy steps up to aid Kai, Sol Badguy, and the others in a coordinated assault, overloading Justice's system as Saint Elmo's fire strikes, while Sol takes on the task of removing Cronus from Justice. The day after this battle, Dizzy finds Kai quite troubled, inspecting the Thunder Seal as it undergoes a mysterious process of self-repair. Dizzy approaches him, offering comfort as they reminisce about their first encounter. To lighten the mood, the two decide to spar, a rare moment where they can interact as equals in both love and strength. During their match, Dizzy prevails and Kai praises her improved skills. Dizzy responds by explaining that she feels stronger because she now has a chair in her heart. A metaphor for the security she feels, knowing Kai will always return home to her. Later into the events of Guilty Gear Xrd Revelator, on November 20, Dizzy once again joins the battlefield, this time fighting to defend Illyria against a new invasion led by Aerials. In this confrontation, Dizzy stands alongside allies like Potemkin and demonstrates the full extent of her power, using her Gamma Ray ability to neutralize the antimatter gears threatening Illyria's safety. Meanwhile, as Kai, Sin, Sol and Gekko heads to face off against Aerials to rescue Effelt, Sin opens up the topic about Sol Bad Guy being the father to Dizzy. Since Sin Kisk himself calls Sol Bad Guy the old man as he was raised by him. Although Sol tries to stop Sin from further delving into this topic, Gekko also delves further, leading to realize that Sol Bad Guy has become the father-in-law to Kai Kisk, and that they become a big family. After their fight against Aerials, Dizzy and Kai settle back into a more peaceful routine, welcoming Sin, Effelt and Vramnatal into their home. And for the first time, Dizzy experiences a sense of belonging within society, as the people of Illyria openly acknowledge her contributions to the kingdom's safety. Their acceptance is solidified when a newspaper article praises Dizzy's role in the battle, even going so far as to suggest that she would make a perfect queen for Kai. Moved to tears, Dizzy is deeply touched by the knowledge that people have looked beyond her gear origins to recognize her who she truly is. A compassionate, courageous individual dedicated to protecting those she loves, as the new queen of Illyria. Needless to say, she also decides to call Sol father, a gesture that humorously unsettles Kai, who is less than enthusiastic about the idea. With the start of the 4th season of Guilty Gear Strive, Dizzy steps into a role unlike any she has held before. Having watched Kai step down as the allied king of Illyria, Dizzy now rules alongside him in the newly established Kingdom of Violetia. Though still adjusting to the responsibilities and duties that comes with her new title, Dizzy finds each day fulfilling, filled with purpose, as she strives to bring harmony to her people. Despite her queenly status, her spirit remains ever curious and independent. Just like in her days on the May ship or in the Forest of Demons, we find Dizzy wandering alone in the arcade mode, seeking both familiarity and freedom. But this time, she is not alone in her wanderings. Gold Lewis Dickinson diligently trails behind to ensure Queen Dizzy's safety. In her arcade storyline, Dizzy encounters challenges that reminds her of the strength she's gained and the kindness she's always nurtured. If the players reach the 8th stage below extreme difficulty, Dizzy finds herself facing none other than Abba, who appears to be on the run, evading Gold Lewis's watchful eye due to Paracelsus' condition of being a cryptid. After their battle, Dizzy's ever-compassionate nature shines through as she urges both Gold Lewis and Abba to resolve their conflict through understanding, believing firmly in the power of words over weapons. Yet, for those players who conquer the arcade mode on extreme difficulty, that means never losing a single round, Dizzy's trials take on a deeper meaning. First, she meets Gold Lewis himself, who, despite his protective instincts, wishes to test Queen Dizzy's resolve and see firsthand if she possesses the strength to defend herself. Their clash reveals Dizzy's confidence, her elegance as the queen, and her skills as a ruler who can balance compassion with resolve. Later on, she encounters Eba again, this time engaging in a battle meant not only to teach but to inspire. Queen Dizzy fights to show Eba that even those who feel lost can find a place in the world, that with courage and kindness, change and acceptance are possible. Touched by Dizzy's unwavering belief, Eba feels the stirrings of hope and decides to join Dizzy's journey, perhaps finally believing that Eba can too belong. And so Dizzy's journey reaches a new chapter. From a lonely, misunderstood child of legendary justice to a compassionate queen, Dizzy has grown into a character defined by both gentle strength and fierce resolve. Her path has been one of the trials and heartache, of friendships and found family, and ultimately of acceptance in a world that once feared her. As Queen of Violetia, Dizzy now stands as a beacon of hope for humans and gears alike, bridging the gaps that once divided them. Her story embodies the harmony she has always sought, a harmony born not just from power but from empathy and love. It is clear that her luminous wings will continue to guide the Guilty Gear universe towards a brighter, more compassionate future, possibly blooming into new possibilities. And I hope you enjoyed today's video. If you enjoyed it, don't forget to give this video a like, maybe subscribe, and follow me on Twitter and join my Discord channel for more updates. And of course, your support through YouTube Join or Patreon is greatly appreciated. Stay tuned for more. I'll be seeing you soon.
In the sunset, the sky was a place.